Okay, hostage video number 3. So I've had a couple of beers to try today. Um, First of which, and I'm going to mangle the pronunciation, Ecaussinnes Ultra. Um, I'm not sure. It's a brown amber beer, alcohol 7% by volume. It has a little Best Buy thing on the side that looks like it was Best Buy sometime in '06. So I don't really remember when I bought it, but it's been refrigerated pretty much constantly since I bought it. So it's been in the fridge for at least 15 years. And I think I bought this. I think this was a bunch of online beers I bought back in the day when shipping was cheap. The cap is plain and it's kind of rusted out a little bit, but it's not rusted through. Was not much hiss when I opened it, but there is some. It got a little disturbed getting it out here. There is a little bit of foam, so we'll see how it goes. This is maybe not quite as strong, 7%. I wouldn't necessarily expect this to last real long. Well, it's nice and carbonated. I'm actually pouring a little rougher than I thought, and I'm assuming it's bottle conditioned. Get the product placement a little better there. They were famous back in the day. They had a beer called Cookie Beer, I remember, and that's a terrible name, but it actually was a tasty beer. It was a little on the sweet side, but I enjoyed it, now and then. I think it was made with spices like you would have in a Christmas cookie. Okay, it's still, color is nice and amber, and it's still pretty clear. And the glass is fogged up a little bit. This may be a quick tasting. I get a little bit of vinegar in the nose, which is not a good sign. Well, this is one I'm glad I don't have a case of. It's not bad. I got the whiff of vinegar in the nose. I'm not getting it now. It's oxidized. It's definitely past its prime. A little bit of malt left in the finish. It's I don't know. It's hard to say. I'm gonna have to think on this one. Let it warm up. It's a little bit too cold. I didn't let it warm up quite enough. I actually was going with a different beer first, and I saw this one. And I said, "Oh, I should drink that one. It's been there forever." So this is kind of a quick first thing. I'm gonna let this one sit, and then we'll be back in a few minutes to let you know how it tastes after it warms up a bit and after I had a few more sips. Okay, I'm back. I'm drinking the Ecaussinnes Ultra, a 7% amber ale, Best Buy 2006, so probably brewed and bottled sometime 2003, 2004. The time frame sounds about right when I think I remember buying some of their beers. Anyway, as I'm getting towards the end, it's still enjoyable. I'm getting a little more almost candy sweetness as it's warmed up a bit, and a bit of sort of caramel in the finish. Like I say, I've enjoyed it. I'm glad it's not a 750. That would be too much. The 12 ounce or whatever, 11.5 ounce bottle is quite enough. It would be actually perfect for two to share. There's not much to say. There's sherry notes and there's a little bit of sweetness. I don't get really any spices, so it gets kind of boring after a while. I mean, it's like after half a bottle, I was kind of ready to move on. But in order to be true to my 12 viewers, going to finish it to the almost end. So, I don't know if the brewery is still around. There was some I did a quick social media check, and there were some things up till 2017, but not much after that. Lots of mentions of the cookie beer, which seemed to be their most famous one, and one called Ultramore, which I remember as well. All of their beers tend to have an Ultra on the name. There's an Ultra Blonde, an Ultra Brune, and that's kind of all I remember. I met the brewers at a beer festival, and they were quite nice young men. This would have been, I don't remember where. It was probably in Poppering. No, it wasn't there. It was the festival after. It was put on by Hop, H-O-P, which is a Belgian beer, part of one of the local members of Zithos. And I'm trying to remember where it was. It was in Victa, maybe? I don't remember. But it was a nice festival. It's the first time I met the brewers from what became Alvina. I think they were still home brewers then. And it was a good festival. I kind of miss those. If you get a chance in the after times, the local Belgian beer festivals are quite fun. They're usually not too crowded, and good mix of people, good mix of brewers, and sometimes lots of new local beers. So anyway, I'm finished this, and I'll be back with beer number 2 in a bit. Okay, back for beer number 2. This is I need practice. I need Vanna White to show me how to hold things. The St. Feuillien Tripel. I'm not sure precisely, again, when it is. It looks like it has the date stamp on it is the 2nd of February 2009. I don't know if that's a bottling date or a Best By date. So that's, so it's at least 11, coming up on 12 years old. Could be longer, usually 2 to 5 years, 2 to 3 years, typical Best By date. Some breweries have 5. Maybe sometimes they're on the cork. This cork is pretty stiff. So that would be an embarrassing. I have this beer and then I don't actually drink it because I can't get the cork out. There we go. And nothing on the cork, just what looks like a generic hop plant. I can't really see. Anyway, I have a fond memory of this beer for my 50th birthday, which was a while ago. I won't tell you how far. Oh, it's coming out to see me. I had a 9-liter bottle of this. They used to, for all I know, still do manufacture 11 large bottles, 3, 6, and 9 liter, and I think they even had an 11. It was expensive, but it was kind of fun. It was also a pain in the ass to pour, because you couldn't really, it was too unwieldy. So we ended up pouring it into a pitcher and then pouring the pitchers into glasses, because trying to pour it into a glass, we were wasting too much. So anyway, it was a little bit cloudy coming out, and it was starting to foam a bit. Nothing interesting in the nose, just smells like Belgian beer. Tastes like St. Feuillien. Their triples have a noticeable candy sugar in the finish, and this one still has that. It's oxidized. It's not as bad as the Ultra or the Ecaussinnes Ultra I just had. This also has been refrigerated, I believe, since I bought it, or shortly after. It's certainly been in the fridge for the past 10 years. normally it was not one I planned to age, and someday I'll tell you the story of this fridge that kind of got blocked. It was in the garage and it kind of got blocked, so I didn't use it for a while. So whatever was in there was stuff that I had planned on drinking sometime soon, but it ended up being an archive for me. So anyway, this is it's nice. I think I'd rather have a fresh one. I don't think this is one that is benefited by aging, but it's still a nice beer. I like their glasses as well. I think this was a glass that I got at the brewery, and we just got a message on the phone because I'm using my phone to tape, and so I'll just have to see if I can edit that out. Anyway, I visited the brewery 2002, 2003, had a nice tour from Madame Friart. Actually, let's see what the brewery has changed its names a number of times over the years. And it says Saint Feuillien, so at one time it was the family that owns it, Friart, so I think it was Brasserie Friart. And there was some controversy. Some of the beers, like this one, may have been, some of their some sizes of some beers were contract brewed for them, because their brewery, they were limited by capacity. I think the 750s were brewed there, but I can't remember that for sure. But we saw them. The large bottle, very large bottles, are bottled by hand. Obviously, they don't have a machine that will do 9 liters. And I remember Madame Friart telling me about a customer who was from, I think, Montreal, somewhere in Canada, and he had an anvil case built to hold his 12 liter bottle. So he would come over on business with that checked. He would drop it off. He'd go spend whatever, his week or two in Belgium or Europe on business, and on his way back he would pick up the filled bottle and put it in this specially designed case to survive the airline trip, and take his 12 liters of Saint Feuillien Tripel home. I like that idea, but you have to have takes a lot to go through. Even the 9 liters took us a while to go through it. Okay, well, I'm going to let this one sit for a minute and sip on it, and then I'll be back and see if I still like it after a bit. Okay, I'm back with my Saint Feuillien Tripel from sometime before 2009. Not sure the exact date, and I'm doing this on the patio, so you get all my neighbors driving by coming home from work. I'm enjoying it, but I would prefer a fresh one. Maybe this would have been better aged if it hadn't been refrigerated. It still tastes like Saint Feuillien, but it's kind of it's hard to describe. It's not fresh, and I expected that, and it's still enjoyable. I wish I had somebody here to share it with, so virtually I'm sharing it with you all. Now, Saint Feuillien is, it's not unique, but somewhat rare in Belgian circles. If you look, try and hold it up, the camera, you can see in the back there's a little stained glass window, and that says certified Abbey beer, certified Belgian Abbey beer. And that's something that came around in late 90s, maybe 2000. In the late 90s, the Trappist Association came up with the rules for what beers can be called Trappist or not, which in the news these days is Achel in Belgium maybe is in danger or has lost their Trappist appellation because there are no longer any monks at the abbey. They've all died. I mean, that's a problem with all of them. There are not that many monks left. Nobody wants to be a monk these days, especially a Trappist. Cistercians of the strict observance. And there had been a father coming from Westmalle to supervise it, which is what the rule is. The beers must be supervised by a monk, by a father. But I guess that stopped. We'll see what happens. But anyway, the Abbey beers were, it's a little bit looser. They have to be, well, there's a couple of ranks. They can be, a non-Trappist monastery can brew. And I don't think there are any current non-Trappist monasteries brewing in Belgium. There are in other countries. Germany has a number of Franciscan monasteries. Italy has they have a Trappist brewery, the Trefontaine, but they also have Nursa from Abbey in Norcia, which is where Saint Benedict was from. So they're a Benedictine abbey, and they brew. And I'm sure there are others. But they also you can use the symbol if you're a commercial brewery, you're brewing the name of a historical abbey, either one that's currently open or one that's closed. But many of the closed abbeys sort of still exist as charitable organizations, and that's the case in Saint Feuillien. I think the Saint Feuillien Abbey is long gone, but there is and I guess, I don't know the actual name, but a Saint Feuillien charity, and a portion of the profits of the Saint Feuillien beers go to the Saint Feuillien charity, just the same way. And some of the bigger names in Belgian beer, bigger names in terms of production, like Leffe, it's owned by AB InBev, largest brewery company in the world. Well, there still is a Leffe monastery, and they get a portion. They get proceeds from the sale of Leffe beers, and in theory, I think they even get some influence over the production of the beer, the recipe. Leffe, Affligem, Grimbergen. Grimbergen was a Norbertine monastery. It wasn't Trappist. I don't know why I remember that. Bornum, Iname, and many more. There were 15 to 20 of them, and some of them were small, and not much exported. And there's some more, and I'm forgetting. I've been drinking beer. My memory goes. My mouth starts, and my memory goes. But anyway, I'm enjoying the Saint Feuillien. Like I say, I wish it probably would enjoy a fresh one better. But I will definitely finish this one, and but I won't bore you with the details or my rambling while I'm drinking it. I did the last video. The first cut came out in about 20 minutes. Over 20 minutes, and I cut it down to 15, and people much like the 15-minute one over the 20-minute one. Actually, it was 30-minute. I take that back. It was 30 minutes. I cut it in half because I rambled a lot. So who knows? If I cut this one, I'll make a director's cut available on the YouTube channel. Anyway, I do have a formal. If you see this, you can always like the video and give me comments. Everybody I know has a YouTube channel says that. Hit the like button and hit the subscribe and give me your comments, and I'll say that all as well. But I'm doing this for the fun of it, and I'm hoping to enjoy beers with you. And I hope if you watch this video, you go get a nice beer and sit down and drink it while you watch the video, and we'll be virtually drinking beer together. Anyway, cheers. We'll see. I have one more possible beer. I think with the 750 of this, I probably won't, but who knows? If not, I'll save it for next time. I got a whole basement full of beers, so I can keep this up well past the pandemic. Anyway, cheers, good weekend to you, good beers to you. Well, I decided to do one more. Been wanting to try this one for a while. This is a Trappe Quadruple from 2000, 2001. I think it says on the back, it says 2000, 2001. This is an interesting beer. The local beer store of a friend of mine, must have been in the early 2000s, they were having a blowout sale on this because the beer had been sitting around too long, so got it really cheaply. And it's also an opportunity to use my favorite little tasting glass. I don't know if you can see it on the thing. It does say La Trappe. And Trappisten beer from Our Lady of Königshofen, the monastery. This actually was for their Quercus, which was their oak-aged versions of the quad. So this beer didn't have much. It didn't have much pop when I took it off, so it looks like it's pretty flat. But there's some foam there. This is, I say, it's my favorite little tasting glass when you only have a little bit. And I thought, what the hell, opportunity to use it. Nice sherry notes and a little something else. And I hope that's not my neighbor starting his barbecue, which will mess up my receptions. That's nice. It's this one's been sitting on the counter for all afternoon, so it's at pretty much proper temperature. It's kind of chilly out here in LA. We're not, LA is supposed to be warm and doing on the beach, but we're lucky to hit 60 degrees today, and we're supposed to have rain tonight. So winter is coming, but I know we won't get any sympathy. But anyway, this is it's got nice sherry notes. There's some malty sweetness and a little spiciness, which is, I think, from the yeast. I don't remember whether, I don't think the quad has any spices in it, but it could. It's a nice color, nice ruby, dark ruby color. At least holding it up to the light on the camera. It's an enjoyable beer. I probably have 6 or 7 of these left. I'm not sure. I have 6 because they came in 3-packs, and I bought a case of 3-packs. So I'm gonna let this one warm up a little bit and enjoy it, but some stories to tell about La Trappe, which to bore you all to sleep with, but I'll be back in a bit. I'm back. I'm enjoying a La Trappe Quadruple from 2000, 2001. And it's quite nice. It's one that's aged well. I've had enough beer. I'm gonna bore you with stuff now. It says up on here, product of Holland in the corner, and then in the bottom it says Brewery de Koningshoven, Tilburg, Holland. And many of my Dutch friends would get quite upset with that because we tend to use Holland and the Netherlands as interchangeable, and really of the 12 provinces of the Netherlands, there are only 2 named Holland, North Holland and South Holland. This brewery, La Trappe, is actually in the province of Brabant, or North Brabant. South Brabant is in Belgium. If you went up to somebody who was living in the town where the monastery is and say, "Oh yeah, you're from Holland," they would get upset because that's it's like calling it's like we tend sometimes use England. Americans will use England to mean all of Great Britain. So if you call a man from Glasgow an Englishman, he might take exception to that. And people from Brabant will take exception to being called a Hollander, being from Holland. So obviously the label was done by somebody who didn't understand that nuance. The other interesting story that I always tell about Le Trappe Quad, and it's kind of appropriate because it happened in 2000, late 2000, so probably while this beer was being brewed or bottled. But I'm a big fan of doing blind tastings because your marketing affects us all, and even if it's not direct advertising type marketing, hype affects us all. So when you don't know what the beer is, when you don't know what the beers are, it sometimes surprises you at the ones you like. And when we go to the Culminator, we often will do a blind triple tasting. However many people we have, we'll have Lean bring out 6 or 7, 8, however many she can find triples, and we drink them and try and pick one. Usually we come to a consensus in that we like this one the best, and it almost invariably, Too Much Beer Today surprises us which ones we liked. So at there's a great world-class pub in Amsterdam called In de Wildeman, and in 1999 we had done a blind Trappist tasting. We had 8 people, I think, and at that time they still had Westvleteren was available, and so we drank all of the Trappist beers that were available to the public. So we didn't have the Westmalle Extra or the Petit Orval and the Chimay Doré, but we had all the publicly available ones, and it was interesting because they were grouped together in appropriate colors and strengths. In 2000, we ended up being just like 3 of us at the end of the trip, and so we did an abbreviated tasting with a man named Robin Brilleman, who is sort of, if you know the beer Michael Jackson, he's sort of the Michael Jackson of the Netherlands. He's an expert on whiskey and beer. Very nice guy. So we ended up, the last 4 beers were, and we knew that these were the dark, strong ones. So we knew it was Chimay Blue, Le Trappe Quad, Rochefort 10, and Westvleteren 12. And so he asked us first, which beer do you like the best? And of course we all went, Westvleteren, because even though this was prior to the hype, there was still hype. And not to knock it, I enjoy it, it's a good beer. And then he said, which beer do you like the least? And we all said, the 3 or 4 of us, we all said, Le Trappe Quad, don't like that one, it's too sweet. So we did our tasting. We brought out 4 beers, and we drank them, and we discussed it, and we universally said we like this one the best, and we like that one the least. And of course, the one, where this is going, the one we liked the best was the Le Trappe Quad, and the one we liked the least was the Westvleteren 12. Now, there is one thing in there that makes it sort of caveat on that, is the Westvleteren 12 was very fresh. He had been to the monastery in the last week or 2. So he said, well, this beer, that's not fair, you should let the Westvleteren sit for 5 years and then drink it. And I have 2 of those bottles left from that time where he bought, and that's another long story. He had bought a case, and I ended up with 2 of those bottles. So we'll see if after 20 years it's worth drinking. Anyway, enough talking. I'm really enjoying this Le Trappe Quad. It's a fitting close to a hectic week and a relaxing Friday. And I'm going to have to edit this one down, but maybe not. Maybe you'll have to listen to my rambling, wandering stories, because that's the price to watch me enjoy this wonderful beer. Anyway, thank you for watching. We'll see you next time. And in the meantime, good beers to you.